I recently moved to a new house, which means I have to set up a new studio. And originally I was thinking, I've got this massive garage at this house. It's 40 by 24. And I was like, hey, I can partition this off, put heat and air in it. This will be perfect. But then after doing all of the math and like the cost of a mini split and cost of building a partition wall, and also remembering that this is a rental property, I kind of get out of that mindset after owning a home in Nashville for 11 years and then moving and now trying to decide where I want to set my roots. So, that being said, after looking at this and doing the costs, I decided this wasn't the right spot. But I do have another spot inside the house that we're going to go renovate. This is the space that I'm going to be fixing up. Now, as you can tell, it's not pretty. Now this is just an old damp basement, and I guess it used to be a finished basement, as you can see from this, but they had some water problems and they tore all of that out because it flooded. And then we'll check out the floor. They had floor repair done, which is great because now it doesn't get water in here, but it left the basement pretty hideous. And of course, this fluorescent light that is blinking is also terrible. So what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be painting the ceiling. Now again, this is a rental home. I'm not staying here permanently, but I did get permission from the landlord and the owner that I could go ahead and do this because, well, it's only going to make their property better. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to paint this floor with a concrete paint. This isn't normally how I would do something. If it was my house, I would do it a little bit differently, but I have to keep in mind that budget is a huge thing, and I don't own this home, so I'm having to do what they say is okay, and that I'm not going to live here forever by any means. I'm trying to be as cost effective as I can since I'm making this space for both my studio for music, for video editing, and for creating YouTube videos so I can try to be more consistent. I know I've been actually awful with that. I always say I'm going to be more consistent than I'm not, but this is my effort for that. First things first, this is where my family disowns me. My dad is a painting contractor and has been most of his life. My brother's also a painting contractor. But I got this cheap little electric sprayer that I'm gonna spray the ceiling with. Now, hope my brother and my dad will forgive me. I know I'd rather be using an airless, but sometimes you just gotta do what you have to do. I don't wanna wait for them to drive 2.5 hours out here and have to depend on them to bring an airless just for this. So this had great reviews on Amazon. If you are also interested, well, first we'll see how it does, but if you are interested, I'll have links below if you wanna buy this. It was under $50, so if it only works once, that's enough for me. This build's going to be a multi-step process, but in video number 1, we're just doing the ceiling and the floor. Next, I'm going to be putting curtains along the wall. That way, I don't have to paint these walls because they're pretty ugly. Plus, they have the water barrier. I don't want to do more than I absolutely have to. And anything that I do, I would love to be able to take with me. Obviously, I can't take paint with me, but the curtains, I'll be able to. And I'm hoping that it looks pretty vibey when I get it all done and have all the lighting in here. All right, let's get started. If you're doing a project like this, make sure you paint the ceiling first, because then you don't have to worry about having all of the overspray and everything else falling down on your floor. Now, if you're not redoing your floor and you still want to do the ceiling, make sure you put drop cloths down. It's going to save you a lot of trouble. Since I'm painting the floor and redoing that, we're gonna not have to worry about it. I'm just gonna Earl Shive this bad boy. So for the ceiling, I'm using some cheap Valspar 4000 interior paint. This was the cheapest paint they had. It was like under $30 a gallon. I am using flat. You're gonna wanna use flat because the more sheen you have, the more it's gonna show flaws. The more flat the paint is, the more it's gonna hide. So with this, we're trying to hide a lot of problems. When you go to pour the paint into your sprayer, you're gonna wanna use one of these strainers because paint usually has a lot of chunks. You also have to think about thinning the paint down because if it's too thick, which being black paint has a lot of pigment in it, it might be too thick, and you need to thin it down to make it work in this machine. I've already thinned mine down a little bit, so it should be fine, but I am gonna strain it and then I'm gonna get spraying. All right, let's see if this thing works at all. All right, it definitely works. I gotta say, the reviews were right. This little sprayer is kicking some butt. So I'm just gonna knock this out and we'll come back when I'm pretty much done. But this ceiling's filthy, so it's blowing up all kind of dust. Again, why you should do the ceiling first. All right, ceiling's all done. It looks pretty decent. It could use another coat, but I'm not gonna do it because again, this is a rental property and I'm doing them a solid by making this look any better whatsoever. Now, it did take me a little bit longer than I expected, only because the humidity was so bad that it was almost dripping in some spots. So I turned on a dehumidifier, got that all taken care of. Now I'm gonna do the floor. Now this is a few days later. As you can tell, I've gotten a haircut since then. So I gave it enough time to cure and everything, but now we're gonna hit the floor. I originally was thinking of spraying it, but the floor paint is thicker. And I want to actually have a little bit of texture on the floor. Not a lot, because it'll smooth itself out, but enough that it will thicken up on the floor because there are some bare spots where they had painted it once before and it has chipped up. Now, let me preface this. I know just painting the floor is not the best way to do this. Again, this is a rental. I'm trying to do this on the cheap. The best way to do this is to grind the floor with a cement grinder. That's really the only way that you're gonna get stuff to adhere the best way. So like you're doing epoxy floors in your garage, those Rust-Oleum kits with acid wash don't really work. Actually, check out this video in the description below from my buddy Greg Dahl with Dahl Concrete and Epoxy down in Nashville. They're incredible, but I can tell you, because I've been on several of their jobs, you need to grind the floor. Now, if you're looking for a quick fix, but you know that you're probably gonna have to do some repairs year after year, this is great because the paint was cheap. Now, let's get going. I got my roller, I got my handle. I'm actually just using a broom handle because I cannot find my good handle. But this will work fine for what I'm doing. It's totally fine. And again, I'm pretty ashamed of this considering I come from a family of painters. My dad is a painting contractor. I know how to paint. My brother's also a painting contractor, but I'm kind of being a little bit lazy and just trying to get this done. So I'm actually going to just, I'm gonna pour the paint on the floor and I'm just going to start rolling it. Don't judge me too much. Folks, again, there's proper ways to do this. I'm doing this on the quick. It's still gonna look great and it's gonna look good enough for what we're doing. It's a rental property, but don't judge me too much. As always, give your paint a good shake and have a stir stick because, especially like I'm using black paint, all the pigment separates. This is usually like a white base paint and they have to put a ton of pigment in it. So we're gonna shake it up. This is Valspar porch, floor, and patio paint. It'll be just fine. It's not the best product out there, but it is good enough. And I will say, these Lowe's products are actually really good. If you wanna check these out, you can look at my links below. I do have affiliate links. They're not paying me for this. I paid for this myself full price, but I do have some affiliate links from Lowe's, which is kind of cool. So check out the Valspar paint. It's pretty decent stuff. I've used it for a long time. You know, I love Sherwin-Williams, I love Benjamin Moore, but the Valspar stuff does really nice, especially if you spend a little bit more and get their better lines. Another thing you might want to do is you might want to tape off the different sections. Now, again, I come from a family of painters, and normally I would just cut this in by hand. We don't really tape stuff a lot because once you have done this long enough, you can cut things in by hand. I'm not even gonna do that because I'm eventually going to paint these walls for them too. So if I get a little bit on the walls, I'm not worried about it because I'm going to make this whole basement look great. Now, the painting of the walls is not part of my process for what I want for my studio because we're gonna be putting curtains around here, so it'll look really cool and kind of swanky. But I am going to do this for the landlord and the homeowner as a little bit of thank you for letting me clean up this space. Now, let's pour out the paint and get to work. Okay, it's done. It looks pretty decent, I gotta say. All right, it looks pretty decent. You know, it's not perfect. Again, I'm gonna clean up some of the edges, do some of that. But overall, this paint covered incredibly well. So if you're looking for a budget thing in a basement or garage that you know you're probably gonna have to do maybe every year, every other year, this is it. Turned out pretty good. Now I'm gonna go get cleaned up. We'll let this dry and then we'll do a final take on this stage of the project. Again, there's gonna be multiple stages of this project, but we're gonna check this one out. All right, I got the floor all done, the ceiling's all done, and if you look behind me, I even have the curtains going up. So I actually got all this done, and my brother and my nephew came out this weekend to help me finish up the curtain process. That way I can start moving some stuff in here. But let's take a look at everything before I show you what it looks like with all the curtains up. Also, Molly approves. She loves it down here. So you can see the floors, they are a little bit dirty just because we've been working down here. But this is what the walls look like right now. And this was that ugly wall. So you can kind of see this. And there we go. Now, of course, it's very dark in here because I don't have all the lights installed. I can flip this light on. This is gonna come down, but you can see how much it blinks in the video, and it definitely blinks. But this gives you a much better idea of what this room is. And it even gives me a little bit of a storage area back here that I can have. That's kind of curtained off, or I can open that up. That's mostly just for videos. I don't really care about the look of the walls. And then I'm gonna do one more curtain right here. And then I've got this really great China hutch. And I got these lights on Amazon today that are RGB. So I can put some of my Funko Pops and probably some of my Star Wars Legos in there, and have a little bit more storage. So again, this is the track system and the curtains. So I have links down below if you're interested in the curtains or if you're interested in any of the paint. The curtains are really cool because they came in 12-foot sections and they came with that track. I got those installed with my brother's help in about 45 minutes for 2 of them, and we made them curve around. They look really great, and the biggest thing was this is a rental property, so I had to do something that wasn't permanent, but also I want to be able to take these with me whenever I leave. So look at all these curtains. Now I still have this wall here, but this wall is I'm gonna paint this the interior color of the rest of the house just for the homeowner, and then I'm going to hang some of my acoustic panels over there, and the other acoustic panels are gonna be hanging from the ceiling. It's gonna be fantastic in here. So stay tuned for the next one when I start building the desk in here, start putting the lights, and I've also got some rugs that are gonna be coming in here. It's gonna look great.